Is that reasonable? Am I being reasonable? I think I am. I think I'm being very reasonable. All right, so here's the original tweet. Here's the original tweet. And again, why am I going over this? Why are you harping on this, Justin? Why are you harping on this? Well, if we can't even understand the objectives, right, and we can't even understand that's like me going into a game and just not even understanding the game plan. So how are we going to win? If I don't know the game plan, if I don't know the plays, and I'm going out there on Sunday and I don't know, sure, I can know the name of the play, but if I don't know what I'm doing, right? So that's why I want to go over this, because I want people to really understand what force the vote was and what using your leverage to advance your goals when you have a leverage point to use, what that means and what that looks like, and how that actually is going to help you advance your goals more than just, being like, oh, please let's send a letter, or let's just urge them. Let's talk in the media about it, but we'll talk kind of vaguely, and we'll say we have to fight for these things, but we won't call out the people that are actually preventing it, even if they're in our own party, right? And so that's the difference. Someone said hashtag nudge the vote. Exactly. David thought it was hashtag force the introduction. Exactly. It's not force the introduction. This bill was introduced in the last Congress, right? This bill was introduced in the last Congress. Did it ever get a vote? Did it ever get a vote in the House with the Democrats having a House majority? Did it ever get a vote? No. What has changed between now and then? In fact, I think they might have less. They actually have more leverage now, obviously, because not only does their party control the Senate as well, so they have a bigger coalition, and so they have an unbelievable amount of leverage now, even compared to back then. So if you're still getting to the same place of just introducing it, then how have we advanced? How have we advanced the ball? How? Right? So here, David Dole. And look, I used to watch David's show a lot, Rational National, when I first was introduced into politics. So it's really, for me, there's no hard feelings. I don't have hard feelings. When I talk about these things, to me, it's about results and outcomes and strategy. So I try and separate all the emotion out of it. It's more about, let's not act dumb like we don't know what force the vote was. Well, and if you don't, then maybe hopefully you can watch this segment and learn a little bit. So he says the whole point of hashtag force the vote was to get Democrats to commit to introducing the Medicare for All bill. No. Just right off the bat, that's false. That's not the point of force the vote. It's not called force the introduction. It's called force the vote. And if the vote is not forced and it just sits there introduced, what are you gonna go do? Tell your constituents that, oh, I tried, I got it introduced? You're going to keep saying that for 10, 20 years? That's literally being a Democrat. Oh, Joe Biden, he wanted the $15 minimum wage. He wanted it so bad, but people still are making $7.25. So what's the difference? You see what I'm saying? And it's not even like they wanted it, but the other party was in power. No. He wanted it, but he's the president and it's his party. He said, I am the Democratic Party, right? And so to me, this is the same thing, right? It's the same thing. You have to actually force something. Forcing an introduction does nothing. It's sitting on whatever desk it sits on and not being voted on, and not actually putting pressure on the people to vote for something right after we just got, or are still in a pandemic, ostensibly. That doesn't mean anything. And 112 Democrats did just that. Hilarious to see many hashtag force the vote supporters, by the way, I was one of them, not even realize what the aim of their strategy was. You should be happy. Oh, we should be happy. We should be happy, y'all. We should be happy because the bill was introduced. And that, to me, I really don't like that, because that sounds super patronizing to me. And we here in America, we don't have universal health care. There's people that still die every single day because they don't have health care. And there's people that go bankrupt. They work their whole lives working hard, 9 to 5, 40 hours a week. All year, hardly any vacation days, and then all of a sudden they get sick randomly, something they probably couldn't control, like cancer, and then their life is uprooted, turned over. They have to literally declare bankruptcy. Everything they've ever worked for is gone. That still happens here. So I'm sorry if I have a little more urgency than just getting the bill introduced. I want it voted on. And I also am cynical because I know the history and I know the people that we're going to have to go through to actually get that done and get that passed. And so that's why I'm acting in this fashion. That's why I'm acting in this manner. That's why I'm trying to push things and force things and use leverage. And that's what all progressives should be doing. That's what we should be doing as a progressive, as a progressive community. That's it. That's it. And so this got some this got the attention of Jimmy. Let me pull that up. This got the attention of Jimmy, and that's where it kind of went, that's where it got interesting. Let me pull that up. Okay, here we go. This is what Jimmy responded. Jimmy said, no, the whole point, Jimmy one who, kind of introduced this to everybody. No, the whole point of hashtag force the vote was to get a guarantee that Medicare for all would be brought up for a vote. Not that it would be introduced and not voted on. They now have zero leverage to get it voted on. Thanks for your support, but it seems you missed the whole point of force the vote. And that's it right there. That is missing the point of force the vote. So Jimmy's response was actually pretty mild. I think it was mild. And possibly Jimmy learned a little bit or wanted to change his tune a little bit from, when the force the vote was popping back in December and January time when we were actually trying to get it done. But exactly. And so this is obviously exactly right, because that was literally the point of force the vote. So David came back, responded this. Indeed, as stated in my following tweet. And this is the tweet he's referencing. Yes, this is the first step to getting a floor vote, and now you have more than half the caucus signing on, which is why it's weird to see people trashing the first step to that goal. No, we're not trashing the first step to that goal. We're saying there's no ability to have a next step. You're actually, think of it like this. If we're talking about steps here, if you take the first step in 2018, 2019, we introduce it, and it doesn't go anywhere from there, and then it's a new Congress and you start back one step and you take another step, you're back at the same place. In fact, I think this actually has less co-sponsors now. It has 112, unless the website hasn't been updated. It has 112 when it used to have 118. So it kind of seems like we're going backwards. But I mean, that's just numbers wise. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. And so he says, but Dem leadership blocking a floor vote on Medicare for all when it has 112 co-sponsors is as big of a deal as it going to the floor and losing. And the latter actually has the potential to negatively impact the Medicare for all fight. Now, see this part right here, that's straight from Pramila Jayapal's mouth. That's what Pramila Jayapal was arguing. And there's no evidence for that. There's literally no evidence for that. That's evidence free. That's speculation. You're speculating that, but there's no evidence to back up that claim. And so I don't know why you would think actually fighting for something and actually getting a vote on something, especially considering I think it was the Civil Rights Act, yes, which Strom Thurmond filibustered, the 1957 or 58 Civil Rights Act. Strom Thurmond filibustered, who was Joe Biden's friend that he eulogized, the segregationist. That was the first time the Civil Rights Act was brought up for a vote. It failed, but then it was brought up for a vote again in 1965, and then it passed. The same thing with women's suffrage, I believe. I think it was brought up for a vote one year, failed, and the next year got brought up and passed. So there's actually evidence to the contrary of this point. And so that I don't understand why all of a sudden, when we acknowledge we have the poll numbers, we acknowledge the 90% of Democrats want it, 70% of all Americans, 50% of Republicans. We were acknowledging that when Bernie was winning, and we wanted to push Bernie past the finish line. But now it's all of a sudden, even though it's popular, if we fight for it, it's actually going to hurt it. I don't know where that comes from. And also, yeah, it's literally not as big of a deal because votes, no one ever talks about co-sponsorship. Oh, you used to co-sponsor it. This person is well known because they co-sponsored a bill. No. It comes down to votes, right? once they actually have to put down a yes or no vote, there's actually real pressure on them, especially in the middle of a pandemic, especially when most of your party wants this. There's actually pressure there. There's no pressure in co-sponsoring, which is why we saw Kamala Harris co-sponsor Bernie's bill. And then when she was she really wasn't close to power, but she could smell it. She was like, I'll actually do some type of middle ground where, healthcare program where private insurance is still included. So that doesn't mean anything. And so, this just whole tweet, it to me, that's just rationalizing. That's rationalizing inaction to me. That's what it feels like to me. Y'all let me know. But that feels like rationalizing inaction. In a time when we can't afford that. But see, again, I'm here in the United States. I live close. I'm in Orange County, but I go to LA all the time, and I see what's going on around in this country. I see it every day. I see the misery. I see the pain. I see the amount of homeless people that are in LA. I see the infrastructure that's completely broken down. I see all these things. And so I feel it on a different level. And then maybe if you're not here, you can't really feel it on that same level. But I feel it. And I think a lot of us feel it. And so we have a little bit more urgency in this fight. And that's why we don't rationalize inaction as much. I mean, that's my opinion. That's just my opinion. And so this is what I said. I said, come on, bro, with laughing faces, because it was laughable. So getting a floor vote on Medicare for all will negatively impact the Medicare for all fight, but it never getting brought up for a vote in the next decade won't. Any excuse for leverage not to be used as we watch our system collapse in real time. And I don't say that lightly, because all this money that's coming in, and even the stimulus checks, one, it can be garnished. They didn't put any provision where those wages can't be, or those that stimulus check can't be garnished. So if you have any debt, I don't know about student debt, but I know if you have like any card debt, any other type of debt, you got to pay that, credit card debt. I'm pretty sure that can be garnished. So it's gone already, just to pay back debt. So, and where's that going? It's going to a bank. It's going to a creditor, right? So let's not get confused. There's no redistributive policies. This wealth is not being redistributed. Okay. The American Rescue Plan did nothing about that. So I don't take this lightly when I say that. And so he responded, it never got brought up for a vote. It never getting brought up for a vote in the next decade. Where is that my tweet? Now, why this upset me was because he didn't engage at all with the content, like the substance of my tweet. He just said it. He took a place in my tweet where I was saying something he didn't necessarily say, but I inferred it. Why? And so why did I infer it? And this is what I responded and said, why did I infer that part? Well, because what are you relying on? You're relying on Nancy Pelosi or her neoliberal successor, probably someone like Hakeem Jeffries, to bring it up to the floor by choice, because they literally have the choice to do it or not. Now, why do they have to do it when they already have over half the caucus that co-sponsored it? What is it going to take? This is what I said. Think she cares how many co-sponsors the bill has? Already has over half the caucus. Think she gives that 55%, 75%? Personally, I'm not willing to hedge my bet on that. And so yeah, if you try this, is it 100% for sure going to work? No, it's a risk. It's a gamble. But if you never try anything, which is what they're doing now, they're not forcing anything, then you are relying on Nancy Pelosi or whoever succeeds her after this 2-year term to bring it up by choice. And they're never going to do that. Period. They're not. And I literally think it could be like 90% of the caucus co-sponsoring it. Actually, I really doubt most of those people would go out there and push for it. Regardless, even if you got 80, 90%, I still don't think Nancy Pelosi would bring it up for a vote because she has the choice. That's why that was such an important leverage point. That's why. And then he said, I'm saying the fact that it's not hitting the floor despite the amount of co-sponsors is a story in and of itself. Really? Because no one's talking about it. I haven't heard a single person in the media talking about it. I haven't heard progressives on TV talking about it. I haven't heard them talking about it on Twitter. I mean, I hear them saying we should have Medicare for all. I hear them saying those things, which is great, but it's not enough. So it's really not a story right now. And he's saying a story comparable to it losing on the floor in a vote. Well, you don't know that. You don't know that part. That's speculation. What I do know right now, what's for sure, is that it's not a story right now. So we need to do something to make sure it's a story, especially in this unique time when we have a pandemic that's killed over 500,000 Americans. And he said it's not about passing right now, regardless. It's not passing right now, regardless. So the convo is all about media attention, whether that accomplish anything. Right. That's what we were saying with force the vote. So even if it doesn't pass, you get that media attention, and you can the squad they don't even need the corporate media. The corporate media might be, of course, they'll probably be out there gaslighting people, telling people they don't need healthcare, right? But the idea is that by the strength of your conviction, the strength of your argument, even through the the lens that people look at the corporate media through and how they've brainwashed people, even through that, because none of them have supported Medicare for all, but even through that, how many Democrats supported? 9 out of 10 Democrats. So it's the strength of your argument and them actually knowing, even though the corporate media is saying that, I might still like Rachel Maddow, Laura O'Donnell, but I don't agree with them on that point. That's how you win people over. That's how you force. So that's how you actually get media attention. The squad could get media attention by themselves just by calling a press conference, or live streaming it on Instagram or going on Twitch. They can create media themselves. That's why the squad is unique and House progressives in general. So I do think the convo is all about media attention, whether that accomplish anything. I'm saying right now we don't have any media attention and we're not accomplishing shit right now. And so I'm saying we need to try something different. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I mean, that's pretty much the end of it. So, I mean, is that reasonable? Am I being reasonable? I think I am. I think I'm being very reasonable. Now, fuck that. We pay their salary. So we pay their salary. We are their base. We help them get them elected. Right? So they need to get on board. Because I mean, how am I going to keep going out and telling people to vote for Democrats? Well, you told me that last time. They said they were going to pass $15 wage. I didn't get I don't have a $15 minimum wage right now. Democrats have been in office, they're not putting this next reconciliation bill. So is it going to get in this next 2 years? Taxpayer money, exactly. Which is why David Doe's home with healthcare in a totally different political predicament has no place playing himself off as rational while diminishing our problems. Yeah. One thing I watched, I think he was going over the American Rescue Plan, and there was this part about the, healthcare subsidies, the ACA subsidies. And, what he said was, there's these ACA subsidies in there. And then he qualified it by saying, of course, there's nothing about prescription drugs, or there's nothing about deductibles or copays, but it's a good thing. Right. And what I said was, whoa, that little but in the middle that you said right there, that qualification, within that, there's going to be a lot of people that go bankrupt, that die, that have to ration things, that have poor health outcomes because of that. So there's a lot of meat in there. So you can't just skip over that step. That's a big thing. And so I don't think that's something we can celebrate just because they marginally gave you a crumb. In a $1.9 trillion bill, they gave you a crumb. Right. There's only so many of these bills that you're going to have. And if none of the wealth is redistributed, if there's no redistributive policies within those bills, then you're going to end up in the same place in 2, 4, 5, 10 years down the line. That's it. No $15, no legal pot, no health care. Exactly. There's no reconciling the interest between workers and capitalists. So Kshama Sawant said time for open combat against the corporate Democrats. The time is long past due for that. The time is long past due for that.